Hello, my dear beings, be it mineral, vegetable, animal, including humans, aliens, uh, and energy entities, like probably all of us will become in the future. My name is Ferruccio Bilic, PhD. I'm going to talk about some interesting thing. Uh, the mixture of history with some comments. Okay. Uh, First of all, let me say that uh, Donald Trump, the actual president of the United States, was an undergraduate student at Wharton School, Business uh, School of Business, Wharton School, uh, and also I don't remember well, but probably he was my student at that moment. I was doing my PhD at the Wharton School in Business and Applied Economics with a fellowship of the Convention, NASA, National Science Foundation. Okay. And I was involved in several projects. One of them, at that moment, I was helping the Foreign Policy Research Institute that is located in Philadelphia at Market Street in a research study for the Department of State and was concerned with studying the potential economic, military, political, social aspects of Latin American countries so that the United States could decide or what we also would recommend what to do in relationship to all these countries. To intervene in some, nurturing other, whatever. Help them militarily, economically, politically, whatever. All kind of suggestions. Uh, our suggestion was that they could, for this project, that U.S. Department of State could watch how these countries, Latin American countries, and what to do, especially monitor them. Okay, like Brazil at that moment was a military dictatorship. Oh, brand mellow dictatorship, and therefore the idea was just keep observing them because they were good uh, partners of the United States. With respect to Chile, was a different situation. At that moment, Salvador Allende was the elected president of Chile, and he was a socialist. And there was a concern for the US, especially because Cuba became a socialist country, and was kind of a problem for the United States. Okay, they didn't have control, and they were afraid of socialism close to home. But we suggested, I especially suggested, that maybe would be an interesting experiment to watch, a socialist experiment, okay? Because it was a kind of democratic socialist experiment. And the idea was very interesting that even the socialist countries in Europe were interested in how this thing would work out. Okay. But I suggest that they should have, they should try to continue with their experiment, because I had a friend and a colleague, PhD student, George Stein, that was doing his PhD with us, with me, and was from Chile, and he was going to work with the creator of strategic planning in doing the strategic planning of Chile. Okay, therefore, were people qualified, and should be an interesting experiment. But CIA didn't like the idea, and they took over the top of the government. Okay, but I still think would be an interesting experiment to watch. Okay. In 1970, also in the year 72, was a terrorist attack in the Olympics in Munich, and they were caught off guard. The German, the American, okay? They did not know how to handle terrorism at that moment. Okay. Then one of the suggestions that we gave were among the different bases that the United States have around the world, like Subic Bay, San Diego, no, San Diego, no, Diego Garcia, San Diego also, but bases that outside the United States, they could capture these potential terrorists before they they commit some terrorism attack. Okay, and in this particular case, we suggested that Guantanamo Bay was a naval base in Cuba, and that was close enough, but not in the United States. Therefore, they could use a little more coercion, not pay too much attention to human rights, and see what they could do. Okay. The problem is that they start doing this thing. And I remember that later on, they took several terrorists from Taliban and put in Guantanamo. The thing didn't work. These Taliban people spent more than 10 years in Guantanamo. And when they were released, they went back to Afghanistan and took over the country. Therefore, was a hopeless effort to control Afghanistan. In this sense, I start thinking that maybe a different thing should be done with respect to terrorism. Okay. Especially when I start more recently dealing with European Union, that also they have this kind of problem inside of the coordination group of critical infrastructure. There was some part concerned with terrorism, okay? And I thought that a better solution for this would be to get my ex-student from the Air Force, American Air Force, and send them to St. Andrews Air Force Base in South Pole. Okay, an excellent place. You don't need even to lock the people there. Nobody's going to walk 2,000-3,000 kilometers in the snow and ice with a temperature that could get minus 97 degrees Celsius. And then also swim 1,500 kilometers to get to the tip of South America. Okay, therefore would be. And people would be doing some work there. If they want to eat, the 8,500 calories needed to survive the South Pole, they should work. Boy. These ideas I had when I was teaching, especially people from the military base, the Air Force. Another of my students, this other student, I oriented his master degree at Barksdale Air Force Base. And his name was Charles Yeager. Was supposed to be the only living hero in the United States. Charles Yeager is the guy that surpassed the sound barrier the first time. Nice fellow, okay? And he wrote a dissertation, and I advised him how to do this work. Was about the effect of human factor in air travel, something like that. Therefore, I have been around. As a matter of fact, I became expert in American defense system, so much that I taught at a military base, several military bases, and I had to correct papers on things that they write. Okay, but I've been Lower Air Force Base, Fort Knox, Camp Lejeune, Cherry Point Air Station, Teed Air Force Base, Bucks Air Force Base, Pease Air Force Base, and so on and so forth. Very interesting experience. Also, I spent some time at the U.S. Department of Transportation doing some consulting for the U.S. DOT. At that moment, I was doing some consulting the project of deregulation of air travel. And at that moment, in 1976, 75, I already knew how the market would be in the future, that Pan Am would go under and what kind of a merger would be. And the simulation that we did happened exactly the way we predict. Also, I also been involved in supersonic air travel. Not only writing papers about Concorde, but also about SST, supersonic travel. Was a project that the Americans sunk $2 billion in Boeing to do this work. It was a lousy work. The equation of demand were a joke. The whole analysis, how can you dump $2 billion in one project and have so much garbage in it? I knew that was garbage because my PhD dissertation was about air transport, and therefore I knew about what wouldn't be the right equations and things like that to do. Boy, so much waste. What else did we say? Oh, at that moment that I was at U.S. Department of Transportation, I remember that I was happy. I went to the White House to represent the U.S. government in the visit that Emperor Hirohito had made to the White House. Nobody wanted, oh, all the Americans said, no, I am not going to in a reception to Emperor Hirohito. And then, therefore, I went to represent the whole government, although I was not American. Boy. There are so many interesting things. Was fun. At that time was fun. Also, at that time, I was asked to give some consulting about some countries, especially Brazil. Okay, if was already time to start pushing Brazil to more democratic government. Therefore, a kind of pressure was given. But I'm not sure if the thing worked too well. The civilian government was as bad as the military one. It's difficult. Okay, these are some of the reminiscences that I have to share with you. And if you do like this kind of talk, give your like, your critique, your comment. You share what whoever you want. And if you are not yet subscribing my channel, please do become do register for my channel, and I will love to answer all the questions that you have. Thank you very much for your attention.